can't catch Dublin twice, so let's not worry too much about the league game.
You will not catch Dublin on the hop. I can tell you that, and that's a guaranteed fact.
They went out to beat them, is what you're saying.
And they haven't done it. They haven't done it.
Jim Gavin's still unbeaten against Mayo.
Unbeaten. Like it's phenomenal record, and it's not.
It didn't look like Mayo were really targeting it.
Well, you know what? Going into the game, and let's be honest, they had 3 good wins, probably against the lesser opposition, the lesser half of the league. But you're going, I know these boys are back, and they're giving us socks. Senior players, new players, since October.
Yeah.
Like the trial games were hot and heavy, and they have a serious base of fitness, but it evaporated.
It did, didn't it?
On Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. Now I would.
It's a bit of a reality check for everyone in Mayo, I'd say, because they've been feeling good about things.
You know what? It happens anyway in February, March, every bloody year. The reality comes and sets in. We should have been beaten. Mayo should have been beaten by 20 points. We should have been beaten in 2017 by 20 points against Dublin. It didn't happen. We had the mother and father of all All-Ireland finals. Like, it's a long time, but you're going to yourself, in the back of your mind, and I don't care, this is from my personal context of playing inter-county football for 15 years. If you in your heart and soul are going out against a team that you constantly have lost against, and the biggest occasion in your life, you're going, you know what, you need to, as someone once said to me, if you're playing your greatest opposition, or it's your neighbours, keep them down at every opportunity you can. And I thought it was good timing from a perspective for Dublin on the back of 2 losses. Look at someone rattled the hornet's nest, but it was good for Mayo to come in on the back of 3 wins. Positivity, but again, you're going, right, forget about it. From a Dublin did not play well. And we'll talk to Enda later on about it. They did not. They were sloppy. They gave away some really like naive ball. And you're going, that wasn't a performance from Dublin.
That's even more worrying.
That's worrying,
yeah. Meanwhile, Shane Horgan freaked everyone out by mentioning the World Cup in 2007 when we were discussing the Italy performance. Now, he wasn't saying it's exactly the same like that for the Irish rugby team, but he was just drawing the parallel and really making the point that when you don't have momentum, it can be just a scary thing where thousands of little things are going wrong. In the same way that when things are going well, 1,000 little things seem to line up perfectly and it's easy. It can be difficult to wrestle back momentum. And certainly in the midst of this Six Nations cycle, it's proving very difficult for Ireland to wrestle back form. The hope might be, so say things continue to wobble, you can give us a sense of this from being in a team environment. Maybe you've had a bad league campaign. The hope might be that for whatever reason, they're in this bad cycle. Is it possible that you get to the end of it, you get to the summer, and then when you regroup again in a couple of months' time, it's a fresh start and everything just kind of clicks again? Do you need to leave the Six Nations, do you think, with a bit of momentum to have a good World Cup? I would be of the opinion you actually don't. I don't think it's the end of the world. Well,
the word you mentioned is click. Things don't just click.
Do they never just click?
Never just click.
Okay.
It is all momentum, preparing for it. A lot of teams, and I'm taking from my context as well, if you have a good finish in the league, if you win your last game or two, you know what, that gives you momentum. All the negatives are gone. All the question marks and everything else. Probably one of the best books I've ever read is Clive Woodward. And there was a chapter on the build-up in the 12 months previous.
To the 2003 World Cup, I presume.
Exactly. And everything was, they knew it. It was coming together. It was coming right. And they bet the All Blacks. In like, I think it was November, December in a challenge game, but that was just before the World Cup. And if I'm right or wrong, they won the Six Nations as well.
Grand Slam. That was the year Mary McAleese had to walk on the grass.
See, it's and I got, that was, look at, you can, and I'm reading a book at the minute, and it's
you're a great man for the reading.
I have to do my reading when I come into you boys.
Dave and Kenny Cunningham.
But you're going, busy. Sometimes.
Do you not just be on your phone and stay on Twitter like the rest of us?
As the man says, I'm on holidays from Twitter this week.
Why is that, David?
I took a break in Donegal for the week. Stepped away from it. You have to create a curveball. You have to you need to make.
Sorry, what are you reading at the moment?
It's a guy called Wooden. It's the score takes care of itself.
Okay. Oh, is this the basketball coach?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fascinating book. because you're going to as a coach, you have to create something. Sometimes it's circling the wagons and saying, you know what, it's them against us now.
Yeah.
Whereas we're all encompassing. If you can know the ad at the minute, are we all in?
Yeah.
We are, and there's stick, and there's a bit of pressure coming. But I honestly feel, and it's from just thinking it back as a player, and no one will agree with in the Irish dressing room, but by announcing Joe Smith, by announcing it, you have to ask yourself: is that bite? Is that little bit of bite gone?
You're not alone in wondering that. Matt Williams, I know.
Is that little bit of you're the boss, and the boss is always the boss, but you're only half a boss.
It certainly backfired on Alex Ferguson when he announced his retirement mid-season a couple of years ago, before he actually retired, and things went to pot. He reversed the decision. The rest was history. That's the best example we've seen. And
Bertie Ahern, the long goodbye. That's in another context. You're going when you're not the boss, and it is.
Remind me what happened to Bertie in the last.
I don't think it went well, as the man says. Okay. But the whole thing, and I was never. I was thinking about this.
Bertie Ahern.
Honestly, didn't see that one.
Oh, you could have given me 1,000 guesses.
I was never in a dressing room where I knew the incumbent manager was going to be our selector. Our trainer was going to be my boss.
Andy Farrell in this case.
And it's there's injuries haven't served us well.
Yeah.
And that is
huge.
The frustration, and you know what? When your leaders are frustrated, you're down the line, it's going to seep in a little bit. But it's there's the Welsh game.
It's going to be a big one. So France come to Dublin in 2 weeks, and then you've got Wales 6 days later, and that will certainly dictate how everyone's feeling as they head off into the summer.
All is not good then.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, see, that's you have the opportunity. Very much like the Mayos of this world. If they beat Galway on Saturday night, your whole mindset changes, and you're going 2 games from league final.
Tangential question, Joe, says a texter. As someone who doesn't wear a suit to work, where does David get the time to iron his shirts? Is he a laundrette man, or does he whip out the iron on a Sunday night? That's from Thomas.
Thomas, I honestly iron every single one of my shirts.
And do you do this on a Sunday night where you do 5 of them? Or do you do it day by day?
I do about 20 shirts at a time.
Oh, that's miserable.
Yeah.
Do you not need
therapy?
Do you not need to re-iron a shirt?
No.
Once you ironed it a week ago.
Richie, would you do it properly? Once you have a crease that can cut bread, on the sleeve, you're going happy days.
Okay. I find if I iron it, and then I have to take it out a week later, it still needs another iron.
Can I just tell you, you don't iron your shirts. I know what goes on in Virgin, right? Your shirts are given to you, handed to you, and nearly put on you. The only thing you put on is your jocks, and everyone else dresses. Truth or not? Truth.
No,
that's the way it works.
No, I know, but I know I wear my own one in.
Your own shirt in?
Yeah, no, my own.
You
everything.
have been mugged off there, mate.
My own everything. I just leave my I leave my gear in the house. I'm not bothered.
Wardrobe allowance.
Do you not get your suits are free? I know that for a fact.
Yeah, no, the suits are free, but I just have them all in my place.
And your shirts?
Everything.
Right.
And then I just get changed at home and drive in.
And there's someone from wardrobe there? And makeup?
Yeah, there is.
That's okay. Next question.
But I'm ironing my shirt. I'm arriving ready to go. I'm coming togged out.
There are people to do this for you now, Joe.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I saw this. I'm
coming.
I'm ready to go.
Your humbleism. That's why you're a good guy, and that's why you're going. Man says.
Examples.
Right, let's not get carried away.
Examples of rugby teams just clicking in a World Cup. France 2011 says somebody. England in 07. France in 99. South Africa in 95. Let the fair weather fans go panic, says somebody. Look, there's plenty of time for this thing to be turned around. We'll talk to Matt Williams and Rory O'Connor just after 8 o'clock. But it is extraordinary the way it has turned around since November in the space of 2 to 3 games.
If you take Essie, for example, if you play with a completely different type 5 than you're used to playing in a top tier international, you're going to have a different outcome. And by the time they have their first choice type 5 and the rest of the team, because they haven't fielded a fully strength side yet, I don't think, in the Six Nations, I think things are going to be okay.
That's true. One of the biggest roars in Croke Park was when Wales got went ahead.
That probably says enough about the Dublin Mayo match. It does a bit the Wales game.
Changed the whole perspective. Yeah.
I mean, you could, not to oversimplify things, but even when Irish rugby was going especially well, we sat here many times and said we have the best half-back pairing in the world effectively, and if they're going badly, then the team is not going to go well. So you know, Johnny Sexton's played 2 games this year, Conor Murray, he gave an interview over the weekend. I'm slightly worried about Conor Murray now. Where
his left side.
It could take him a year to get the full strength back in his left side.
Yeah.
So let's hope he gets back up to speed. But if Sexton and Murray suddenly hit top form again, then a lot of issues will take care of themselves.
I was in and around the Irish camp in 2007, over in France, Bordeaux, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we know who's to
The
blame.
World Cup?
Yeah.
Suddenly it makes sense.
And
suddenly the mystery of 07 has been solved. What did you do?
To say that I've been in.
When you say around the camp, what do you mean?
I was in and around the camp.
What does that mean?
Trust me.
Trust me.
I have never, and I've been in situations.
Sorry, that doesn't answer the question. What does it mean you were in and around the camp?
I was in and around the camp.
It's 12 years ago. You can let some of this go if you want.
Outside the hotel?
No, they actually transported the weights room over from Ireland and set it up in their training camp in Bordeaux.
And so were you hanging on to weights?
I was tickling a bit of steel, yeah. But I've never in my life met or been in the presence of men that was so muscle bound. They were absolutely. I couldn't. It was nearly frightening. Frightening, and maybe it would.
Some of them think they focused too much on that side of things and didn't actually play enough rugby.
They were absolutely. They were bursting, and the rugby didn't. Like I remember Georgia we played, and it was like Georgie. The shouter on the ground was Georgie, and you're going, this is not. And you could see it. They were dead on their feet. It doesn't. It's the whole strength and conditioning has changed 12 years later, but
I still don't fully understand what your connection was in 2007. You were in the weights room.
Look at
what?
I got in.
What does that into the weights room?
Yeah, in and around the team. Yeah.
To what end?
Did they know you were there?
Well, the man says if I was talking to them, I take it that I was there.
Were you ironing the jerseys before they gave them to them?
No.
Is this through your brother or something?
No.
You just wandered up, did you?
Just, yeah.
Saunter up to Bordeaux.
You didn't. What?
Sorry, look at us.
Sorry, can you
what's next on the Newsround?
No, can you stop talking to me here in kind of riddles?
In coded terms?
Yeah. Did you just wander up of your own accord and say, how you doing, lads, David Brady, and just wander on into the weights room and have a chat? Or was this like an organised thing where you get to view them? You know, the way like different managers go and watch the Ireland team train. Was it like that?
I was allowed in, yeah.
Right.
I asked to go in and I was allowed in.
Who let you in now?
The manager.
Of the hotel?
No, the team.
Eddie O'Sullivan?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Yeah. Okay, no, that wasn't so hard, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, there we go. Can David recommend a good iron? Says Dame O'Kilkenny. Yeah.
9 iron.
So we're starting the news round with what should be a brilliant game in Dalymount this evening.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Dalymount's been sold out for more than a week ahead of tonight's meeting of Bohemians and Shamrock Rovers. The Dublin rivals have both made a perfect start to this season's SSE or Tricity Premier Division, and that game is part of a full programme in the top flight. Fullbacks Derek Pender and Dara Leahy back in the both side even for tonight's game. St Pat's are another side with a 100% start to protect ahead of a visit of Finn Harps to Richmond Park. Dundalk, though, still winless with UCD travelling to Oriel Park this evening. After completing a loan switch from Portsmouth, striker Dan Smith is named on Cork City's bench for their game away to Sligo, and tonight's other game sees Waterford make the long trip up to Derry City, and all those games have 7:45 starts. On a similar note, the FAI have lifted an embargo on clubs sharing game highlights on their social media channels. Previously they've had to wait until after the broadcast of RT's Soccer Republic to share their individually sourced material, but as anybody's been following any of the accounts this evening knows, they're all go tonight with game highlights. CJ Stander, he remains on target to return to the Ireland side before the end of the Six Nations. His Munster head coach Johan van Graan says the back row forward could have recovered from his facial injury sufficiently to play against France on Sunday week or Wales the week after. Stander sustained the injury, of course, in the opening round loss to England. And after missing yesterday's win over Italy with a hamstring injury, Joey Carbery will remain with the Ireland camp for treatment. One of Carbery's predecessors in the Munster and Ireland number 10 jerseys, Ronan O'Gara, joined this morning's OTB AM, and he says he was concerned by the Irish side's body language in yesterday's win over Italy and says it's vital that they remain positive.
What probably Joe would be a little bit concerned with would potentially be the body language. I know they weren't winning, or like they'd like to win, but it was still a bonus point win. But I think from an Irish point of view, you wanted probably a little bit, maybe more of a smile on the face, if that's possible. I know it's a 10-point victory, but at the same time, in that environment when it's very pressurised, sometimes you need to just make the mood light at times if you can.
They did look very weighed down on the pitch. not much talking, body language bad at times. That stuff is important. The energy of a team. You can G each other up, you can talk to each other, and there was just a certain malaise about a lot of them. A lot of hands on hips at times. Even when there was a big moment where Peter O'Mahony won a turnover. And usually when the team are humming, they're all in to give a pat in the back and on we go.
And you're going, nothing. Lifting him up, and he's, and look at, it is Italy. And is it the game that you're going to be pumped and you know?
I think that's a fair point too, yeah.
You're going, you have to hate your opposition. And a lot of the teams that you go out and play from an Ireland context, if they're the lesser teams, the big teams don't hate the Italies of this world.
Did you ever, as a player, think about your body language consciously and say, even if I'm not feeling great, even if I'm low in confidence, even if things aren't going well, I'm going to have the shoulders back, I'm going to have a certain strut, I'm going to be loud, I'm going to be big. Did you think about all that?
I did, and I'm doing a lot of reading this weather, but I'm listening to a podcast at the minute called Peak Performance, and it goes down to the thing of who's your alter ego. Who is your ego?
As in on the pitch.
When you're on the pitch, who are you?
Because I always remember the All-Ireland final. I was sitting behind the goal when you came on with Donaghy in 06, and you came on and your body language screamed aggression and I'm here to go, and you gave him a dunt right at the start, and it was effective. Like, it had an impact. It energized the crowd, energized people around you. It actually is a big thing.
And what you try and do is ripple that across your teammates.
Yeah.
Now, the man says that's a different scenario, but if you have an alter ego to say, I am X, and sometimes, when I was listening, you're going, you do create it. You're not just David. You're something else in your mind, and you're going, you know what? Maybe you're the meanest mother that's alive at that moment in time in that pitch, or you're going to have a goal and an aim, and it's no matter what happens, you're going to carry it out.
Equally, I'm sure you've been in pitches and found yourself and your teammates being quiet, and it's not happening. You
know what? Honestly, it comes nearly, and you feel it in the dressing room, and you say, look back, I could sense it. I could sense it. Did you see the Ireland video of the team bus?
Where they're getting the mad escort through Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they look like it's interesting, O'Gara saying a lighter atmosphere, a few more smiles. They seem to be laughing uncontrollably at this. And
crack.
They seem like they're in a good place there.
And you know what? I loved the journey in the bus. That for me was... Now, some guys have different. They're going, let you be Richie be talking, and let you be, Mance's playing cards or whatever. Everyone has you're a seasoned campaigner. There's a time and a place when you know when your ego comes in and that's me here now.
Yeah.
But it was great crack.
No, it looked great. So it was interesting that didn't translate to the pitch the next day.
But you know what? It's them boys are the best. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. And if you go looking at the bigger solutions, maybe it's just simple. You're going, you know what? Let's get back to what we do best. And man says, if you want a game to lift you, there's two of them coming up.
Yeah. France in 2 weeks is going to be very interesting in Dublin. Meanwhile, I can't believe we've got to 22 minutes past 7 and not mentioned our good friend Kepa.
Yeah, the notion of disciplinary action appears off the table for Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga following yesterday's League Cup final strop. The Spanish stopper appeared to refuse to be substituted as penalties approached in their game with Manchester City at Wembley. City claimed the trophy by beating Chelsea 4-3 in spot kicks, securing what could be the first part of an historic quadruple. But both Arrizabalaga and Maurizio Sarri were at pains to point out afterwards that it was all a big misunderstanding.
It was a really big misunderstanding because by phone I understood that he had a cramp, and so for me it was impossible to go to the penalties with a cramp. And I realized that the situation only after 3-4 minutes when the doctor arrived back to the bench. And in the meantime, I asked the substitution. The player told me that I am able to arrive to the end. So it was really a big misunderstanding. I want to speak to him because he was right for the reason.
But many fans would say he was wrong with his reaction.
He was right for the reason, but he was wrong for the conduct.
I mean, you couldn't make this up. Kepa wouldn't have dreamed of doing this to a manager with real authority. He wouldn't have done this to Sarri in Sarri's first couple of games. He's taken advantage of the situation, which is that Sarri is on the back foot. At the absolute, to kind of to follow their logic through to a point. So say Kepa understood he was being substituted because he was injured and wanted to say, I'm not injured. Instead of doing what he did, which is embarrass Sarri in front of the whole world, he could have just sprinted over very quickly and just said to his manager, I'm not injured, I'm actually grand. High five Willie Caballero, just so he's not feeling a bit embarrassed too. And then said, we're good, and then allows Sarri the opportunity to go, yeah, we're good, back you go.
But the fact that there was no dialogue even between Azpilicueta, who was the captain on the day.
He said he didn't see it, which was one of the great lines.
Oh, it's utter nonsense. Like, how does a captain not see that kind of to-do on the pitch involving one of his own players?
How does anyone
not even one of his
it?
own players, a bloody goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It was unbelievable. Now, I thought for a second that it was a Louis van Gaal moment. That he was saying, you know what, we have our homework done for these penalties and we're bringing on the substitute keeper. Didn't Van Gaal do that in the World Cup?
Against Argentina, semi-final, yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, it did work, yeah.
And I'm going, this could be...
genius.
Yeah. And you're going, because this is your job for the week. Concentrate on every spot kick they've taken over the last 5 years. Who's taken them, who's blah, blah, blah.
Well, he also was at Man City. Vincent Kompany said we were quite relieved you didn't come on because he's very familiar with us.
And he's a great penalty saver as well as Caballero.
Yeah. But for a goalkeeper to... That's
any player.
Yeah.
Sarri's taken one for the team here. He absolutely is. He could throw this guy under the bus and probably should.
But look, he's going to be under the bus too. And that's
This is true.
Well, you could sense, you can see it yourself. Do you think any keeper would say, no matter what, the boss? There's only one boss, and Sarri doesn't seem to be it.
Not at Chelsea.
He was gone out the door. He stopped. Came back.
It was an amazing moment. Yeah, you thought he's going to keep going. He's going to keep going. Oh, he's thought better.
And there's you know what? If I had known it myself over the years, if you don't come off, you can't be substituted.
It's within the rules. It's within the IFAB rules that say if you don't want to be substituted.
And I don't know who was told the story that once that he knew he was being taken off, and he told the guy, the corner forward, to say, "Hey, unlucky Joe, well done, boy," and started trotting off. And as he was trotting off, the sub was coming on, and the ball was kicked out, and away you go, keep going.
All right.
But you're going to yourself, it doesn't look, it smacks of everything that is.
Oh, they're a mess. They are a mess.
Yeah.
There's corner forwards all over the country now who'll know that they don't have to get taken off at the first sign of trouble. I said to my wife during the match, I think a lot of the Irish players look overweight. Anyone else agree? Oh, I wouldn't.
New telly, who is that?
I wouldn't think so.
Aspect ratio needs fixing on the telly.
Yeah, he needs to go on.
They are lean machines these days.
They're serious.
Lads, it's the Mayo connection. Gavin Duffy got Brady in from Eamon.
Come on, Eamon.
Hey, correct, Eamon. Well done.
Eamon's on the ball.
On the money.
For what though? For what? What did Duffy get you in for?
Pay him.
Mayo Mafia.
For a $5. Yeah, we stick together.
So they were absolutely huge. Who was the most impressive specimen? Anyone stick out? Stephen Ferris would have been a big man then.
Jesus, he had guns now that you'd want a licence for, in all fairness. They were all, they were serious.
Didn't do them any good though. It's funny.
No.
Walking the treacle for that whole tournament.
But times have changed.
They sure have. They're much leaner now, yeah. That is our news round this evening. This week, by the way, we've teamed up with Coca-Cola to celebrate their Be the 12th campaign. Coca-Cola rewarding supporters giveaways this season, including match tickets, branded merchandise. All this week, we're giving you the chance to win tickets to the Premier League match of your choice. Terms and conditions apply. All you have to do is identify tonight's mystery voice, who is not surprised that Rami Malek came out on top in the Best Actor category at the Oscars.
In a short and sharp way, you'd say men against boys, if I'm honest.
Text your name and answer 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce the winner later on in the show. All with thanks to Coca-Cola's Be the 12th campaign. Keep an eye out for special packs for the promotion. Short break. David staying with us. We'll be joined by Enda McGinley and we'll chat through the weekend's football.
Off the ball on News Talk.
You can tell they're getting old now,
Yes.
Rolling Stones style. Mick Jagger.